The hall was thick with tension the moment the Chinese general stepped onto the stage. The International Defense Summit was one of the most watched events in the military world. Generals, analysts, and officers from nearly 50 nations filled the enormous room. Cameras flashed continuously. Translators whispered into headsets. The air smelled of polished uniforms, nerves, and power. The general walked with confidence, almost arrogance, and positioned himself at the podium. He scanned the audience like a man certain no one could challenge him. He lifted the microphone and spoke clearly, his voice echoing through the hall. "Filipinos," he said with a cold smirk, "cannot fight." The room went utterly silent. He continued louder this time, as if emphasizing each insult. "They are small, undisciplined, emotional. They cannot stand against a real army. Not ours, not anyone's." Some people chuckled awkwardly. Others shifted in their seats, unsure how to react. A few stared at the general in disbelief, shocked that he would say something so openly disrespectful in a global forum. Meanwhile, the Filipino delegation in the front row sat motionless, not angry, not defensive, just watching. Among them was Captain Reyes, a quiet officer known for his intelligence, calm, and natural leadership. His face showed no hint of emotion, but his eyes held something steady, a kind of controlled fire. The Chinese general launched into his presentation, full of statistics, comparisons of weapons, charts showing military budgets and troop numbers. He bragged about China's strength and ridiculed the Philippines, calling it a small island pretending to be mighty. Several attendees exchanged uneasy glances. Others, especially those who underestimated small nations themselves, nodded quietly. The general finished his speech with a proud smile, unaware that his words would be the beginning of his embarrassment. Moments later, the organizers announced the next scheduled event, a multinational special forces competition designed to test the real-world skills of military elites from different countries. The categories were unforgiving: jungle survival, rescue operations, endurance, hand-to-hand combat, and battlefield strategy. The Chinese general laughed loudly, making sure everyone heard him. "Good," he said. "Let us see what the Filipinos can do, if they can do anything at all." The Filipino team stood up, 8 soldiers, lean, focused, quiet. Their movements were controlled, disciplined, almost humble. Captain Reyes led them as if he were guiding a single, unified organism. They walked to the field where the competing teams gathered. The Chinese team arrived shortly after, towering, muscular, filled with swagger. They stretched, flexed their arms, smirked at the Filipino group like they were already certain of victory. The first test was jungle survival. Teams would be airdropped into a dense forest with only a knife and a map. For many, it was a nightmare scenario. When the buzzer sounded, helicopters lifted off, leaving each group alone with nature. The jungle swallowed most soldiers instantly. Branches cracked, panicked footsteps echoed. Some teams shouted instructions, conflicting orders, or excuses. But not the Filipinos. They moved as if the forest welcomed them. Reyes crouched, touched the soil, listened to the wind, scanned the canopy. In minutes, the team built shelter using palm leaves. They sparked fire using bamboo and dried fibers. They located water without hesitation. They set traps, climbed trees, and navigated terrain with precision. Meanwhile, the Chinese team stumbled through thick vines, got lost repeatedly, fell into muddy ditches, argued loudly about directions, and wasted precious daylight. One soldier nearly tripped over a snake and screamed so loudly that even distant teams heard him. Hours later, the Filipinos emerged from the jungle, calm, clean, unshaken. The judges were stunned. The Chinese general's smile had faded. Next came the rescue mission. A dummy hostage was bound inside a hut rigged with sensors. Teams had to infiltrate quietly, rescue the hostage, and escape without triggering a single alarm. The Chinese soldiers rushed forward like tanks, stepping on branches, hitting walls, arguing over who should enter first. Every movement was loud, every misstep was costly. Within seconds, sensors blared. Red lights flashed, the mission failed. The Filipino team approached silently. No words, only hand signals. 2 climbed high into the trees, using branches as cover. 2 crawled on the forest floor, moving like shadows. Captain Reyes advanced slowly, scanning every angle. They reached the hut without a whisper, cut the rope cleanly, lifted the dummy hostage, and vanished into the foliage. No alarms, no mistakes. The judges exchanged stunned glances. The audience murmured in disbelief. Third was the endurance run, a brutal 20 kilometers of mud, stones, and steep terrain, with heavy packs loaded with rocks. Heat turned the field into a furnace. Soldiers collapsed. Others vomited or fainted. One by one, teams broke down. But the Filipinos ran steadily, like men accustomed to long walks, heavy loads, and unpredictable weather. The sky darkened. Rain poured. Mud deepened. The Chinese team struggled desperately. One soldier twisted his ankle. Another threw down his pack in frustration. They fell behind as the rain intensified. The Filipinos didn't slow down. In fact, the rain seemed to energize them. Their steps stayed light, their breathing controlled. They crossed the finish line first once again. Thunderous applause filled the stadium. Even officers from rival nations stood up to clap. The Chinese general clenched his fists. His humiliation was building, but the worst was still ahead. Hand-to-hand combat, a ring, no weapons, pure skill. The Chinese fighters strutted into the ring, confident in their size and strength. Their muscles bulged under their uniforms, and their expressions showed nothing but pride. The Filipino fighters, smaller but focused, entered with calm steps and steady breathing. The whistle blew. The first Chinese soldier attacked immediately, charging with brute power. The Filipino fighter sidestepped with perfect timing, delivered one precise strike, and the larger man collapsed instantly. Chaos erupted. The match was over in seconds. The next fight ended the same way. And the next. Filipino fighters wasted no energy. They fought smart, fast, clean. Their discipline was unmatched. The Chinese general sat stiffly, refusing to look at the scoreboard. Finally came the most important event: battlefield strategy. Each team received a simulated war zone with drones, communication equipment, enemy units, and multiple objectives. The Chinese team rushed in aggressively, convinced that overwhelming force would win. They scattered, they lost communication, they triggered traps, their mission fell apart quickly. The Filipino team moved with methodical precision. Reyes divided his unit into 3 groups, each with a specific purpose. They used terrain cleverly, coordinated silently, used distractions, and executed every step without panic. Their plan unfolded with surgical accuracy. When they completed the mission flawlessly, the crowd erupted in a standing ovation. Reporters sprinted forward, cameras flashed. Every nation watched in awe. During the awards ceremony, a journalist approached Captain Reyes. "General Liu said Filipinos can't fight," she said. "What would you like to say now?" Reyes smiled gently, the kind of smile that didn't boast, or as it reassured. "We don't fight to show off," he said. "We fight to protect. And when we fight for the people we love, we don't quit." Silence filled the room again. But this time it was a silence of respect. The story spread worldwide. Videos of the competition went viral. Filipinos across the globe beamed with pride. Children reenacted the scenes in schoolyards. Veterans saluted their screens with tears in their eyes. Even in China, citizens admired the Filipino team for their heart and discipline. A week later, General Liu requested a private meeting with Captain Reyes. No cameras, no audience, only truth. He entered the room slowly, his pride gone, replaced with sincerity. "I judged your people wrongly," he said. Reyes bowed slightly. "Many do." The general took a deep breath. "How did your men stay calm under pressure? How did they keep winning? How did they stay strong when others broke?" Captain Reyes answered softly, almost like a teacher explaining a simple truth. "Because we fight with purpose. Soldiers who fight with pride fight for themselves. But soldiers who fight with purpose fight for those they love. And purpose will always be stronger than pride." The general lowered his head. "You have my respect, and the respect of my command." The 2 men exchanged a final salute, a symbol of honor earned, not demanded. And from that moment on, the world remembered this story as a lesson. True strength isn't measured by size, wealth, or power. It's measured by discipline, courage, humility, and heart, the kind of heart that never backs down, the kind of heart Filipinos carry everywhere they go.